much like you and I do, 640 by 480 in resolution, can obviously take pictures and video, and on top of that you have a monochrome CMOS sensor and an infrared laser projector which gets both facial recognition and motion recognition. Now on top of that, the device also has a multi-array microphone for multiple voice recognition and of course ambient noise reduction. Now this device broke all sorts of records upon its launch and right now holds the Guinness Book of World Record for the fastest selling electronic device in history, selling 8 million units in just 60 days. And there are over 18 million of these units out on the market today as of January of this year. So essentially what you have in your living room is a spy device not only capable of tracking your motion, of taping your activities, but tracking, tracing, databasing, and even profiling yourself and other family members that may not even be using the device. In fact, I'd like to harken back to an article called Connect, a controller in everything. And in this article, one of the developers, the main developer, Alex Kipman, discusses how he would like the device to be the first step in a holodeck type experience, and eventually have this device be able to recognize what kind of t-shirt you're wearing. For instance, if you were to wear a Cincinnati Bengals t-shirt, then they would take that information and then advertise to you based along those lines. What sports you enjoy, what teams you follow, what other activities are in your interest, so you can be a better slave and consumer. Kipman also discusses in the article how the military and big business calls him almost on a daily basis to see how they can implement this technology in their arena. And of course this has now come into fruition with the military now openly hacking video game systems everywhere. And let's not forget, it's not just limited to the Kinect. They're going to be hacking PlayStations, Nintendo Wii's, and beyond, folks. So we have to be very aware of this. And let's not just stop there, because the Kinect has a future even beyond the Microsoft Xbox. In fact, it's going to be used to control the next operating system on PCs, Windows 8. In fact, I was actually able to demo the controls about 3 weeks ago in the mall. Now, it's already launched, but there's going to be a second Kinect, a Kinect 1.5 that launches this May. And again, your mouse, your keyboard, they're going to start becoming a thing of the past. Now, Microsoft has already foreseen this and bought in Skype. Now, by buying Skype up, they now have a way for people to communicate through video conferencing. Of course, this is built into the Kinect, and as it expands its audience, look for it to be used with other accounts like Skype. Let's talk about Obscure Technologies, the company that has gotten the government contract to hack video game consoles. When I went online to try to find out more about this company, it had no website and 2 very obscure addresses. This is what happened when I tried to call the company. Hi, my name's Jason Burmis. I'm doing a story for INFOWARS.com, and I was trying to get a hold of somebody from Obscure Technologies.
Hi there. Well, we have been asked to form press requests to the NPS Office for Public Affairs.
Okay. So who would I contact for a press request? Now, just to take it a little bit further, open source users have already really hacked the Kinect on levels never seen before. It's already being used to control things like Windows 7 and Google Earth and even Androids. And I'm not talking about your phone, folks. I'm talking about actual robotics that now mimic your movement based on the motion sensors in Kinect. So the sky is the limit for this device. But Are you prepared to have a device in your home plugged in to the internet 24/7, 365 that could be easily hacked by not only malicious hackers out there, but your government as well? Especially when you have the CIA director, General Petraeus, saying that they will spy on you through your dishwasher. Therefore, your video game system is something they're probably already using. And we know through announcements from companies like Google, who now say that they're actually going to be listening in on your phone conversations, background ambient noise, to better advertise to you, that they've said that they'll use information from your webcam on your laptop. So I'd like this to be a warning to those out there with this device or thinking about purchasing this device, that when it is not in use, that you unplug it from your Xbox and unplug it from the power source, because you are literally putting a multifaceted spy device in your homes. Be sure to check out INFOWARS.com for the latest in tech news that affects your life today. I'm Jason Burmis. Thanks for listening.
Well, Burmis, first of all, great job on an exclusive report for InfoWars there. A lot of information packed in. The first thing that comes to mind is that Aldous Huxley Brave New World concept of people loving their servitude. The fact that the Kinect was the fastest selling, I guess, video game device in history, opened the gates at 8 million sales in, 2 months? Now at over 18 million sales. People are really eager to sort of share that information and try to enter more and more into that online world. So that's one major theme. The other major theme is the overall blurring between the military and these corporate interests. It harkens back to the early days when the CIA first began to become unleashed, and you saw really huge conflicts of interest, like CIA coups in Guatemala and other Latin American countries that were, at least in part, on behalf of fruit companies. People like Alan Dulles had dual roles in that respect. And now we see the military entering into these online realms, these private corporate realms, and doing their efforts there as well.
Absolutely, Aaron, and they're going to continue to expand. And not only was the Kinect the fastest selling video game device, we're talking electronic device in history, bar none, whether it's a cell phone or any of these things. And let's talk about that expansion. You know, we talked a little bit about Google in that report, and we've talked about Google before. Well, Google has a thing called Google Goggles that kind of made some pretty big headway 3 or 4 weeks ago. People were like, oh, augmented reality goggles, this looks really neat. Well, they've changed this to call it Project Glass, and they've actually put out their first demo video. Forget about the fact that we now have cell phones with 2 high-definition cameras on them that can easily be hacked. There are countless YouTube videos of people being able to gain access to the audio even when the phone is not in use, as long as the battery's in, as you and I are well aware. Well, these augmented reality glasses are literally a virtual window into your life every time you're wearing them. They have video capability outside. You can take video conferencing inside in them. They have voice recognition. Literally, we are being set up to have 24/7, 365 spy devices mounted on our bodies. And one of the things I talked about in this report with the Kinect is this is going to be the tool to actually use Windows 8, which is undoubtedly going to be the biggest operating system of our time. Windows has dominated the market now for almost 20 years, with Apple just having a small share of the operating system market out there. Google's tried to come in. They haven't been successful outside of cellular devices and some tablets. But I'm telling you right now, the keyboard is going to be a thing of the past. The mouse is going to be a thing of the past. We are literally going to be using Minority Report style devices that are going to give a window into our personal lives, Aaron, like never before.
I mean, we say personal lives. Of course, we're grounded in the Constitution, Bill of Rights based. We have a privacy. We have a Fourth Amendment. They've been whittling that away for decades. And the fact that the NSA is building this gigantic spy hub really signals the fact that more and more they see us as a population, not as individual, free, sentient thinking creatures who have innate privacy, but more and more like we're just a data bank. We're a resource for learning how systems work, how a human population system works. Do you see that trend moving, and where does it go? It looks only like scary ground to me.
Well, absolutely. As the economy is really brought down in this country, more and more people will be looking for work, and more people will be willing to man this $2 billion NSA spy center that is intended for us American citizens. This thing is reported to it's going to be the size of 17 football fields, folks. 17 football fields, stadiums is what they're saying. Just think about the last time you went to a football game, and now you're going to have 17 of those fully manned with personnel. What could they possibly be doing other than surveilling the general populace? And of course, there's stories breaking all the time right now. James Bamford, the guy behind Body of Secrets, the original publisher of the Northwoods documents that we've talked about in regards to 9/11 and beyond and false flag terror, has just done an amazing report on this. And as you and I know, Aaron, he's confronted Michael Hayden, the ex-head of the CIA, on our loss of a Fourth Amendment. And basically, he was just pushed aside when he asked that question. So unfortunately, I just see this moving towards this surveillance type of society where we have less and less personal freedoms, and those that try to rise up will be dealt with in a manner unbecoming of our constitutional republic that was once great.
It's crazy, and the idea of opting out, as we see with the TSA, it's almost a halfway honest thing, except it's a rigged game, and opting out just means you'll be groped in the airport context. Well, what about online? Can you opt out of these surveillance measures? I don't know. Even if you could, and even if it was an honest system, there's so many layers of it, so many different things we interact with, so many areas where Google alone controls the entire arena for debate in the online world, in these technologies. How could you opt out of such a large, swirling data bank?
It's going to be very, very difficult. And with Google getting into the television business and many of these smart TVs already having apps like YouTube, and seeing YouTube become more and more of a television station and not just a user-based system for content to be uploaded to the world, they're moving in the direction of becoming a TV station. And of course, they are owned by Google. And we've already been warned about some of these smart TVs that are already out there with high definition cameras and voice recognition, much like the Kinect device. And this is going to be moving forward. You're going to see more and more of this. In fact, I would say within 5 years, I would say the majority of homes, at least 70+%, will have one of these smart television devices or something like it in their households. And most people, unfortunately, are not going to see the negative side to that. They're going to be like, I don't have to use a remote control. I can just say TV turn on. This is great. But in doing so, you are not only giving up your personal privacy, you're setting yourself up for a surveillance state that we don't want to be a part of, that free humanity should never be a part of, Aaron.
Absolutely. And of course, technology is a double-edged sword, but they are armed to the teeth. And for the most part, we're basically ignorant about the data fight, the fight for privacy, where it is out there. So we'd like to continue to support these kind of reports, groups like the EFF who are trying to fight for online freedom. And let's hope it continues. Jason Burmish, thanks for joining us, and we will speak to you in the future. That is it for tonight's InfoWars Nightly News. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and please support us. We are under attack in so many ways, as you heard Alex Jones mention earlier. Good night. Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Aaron.